The Prime Minister's question.
I regret the way the event I have described was handled. I bitterly regret it.
Regretfully, I have to say that his position is no longer tenable.
You have sat there too long for all the good you have done. In the name of God, go.
I can confirm that the Met is now investigating a number of events that took place at Downing Street and Whitehall.
Now, the First Minister struck an optimistic tone in her COVID statement to MSPs today, declaring that the current Omicron wave may be at or close to the peak.
Russian bombs began dropping on Ukrainian cities in the early hours of this morning. The attacks came from all directions, forcing many to flee the capital, Kiev. Europe is at war. Now, it can come as no surprise, given the aggression that we've seen from Putin over the last few weeks, but the reality of it is still a shock.
You've got the medal. It's incredibly heavy, actually.
It
just had a wee hold of it before we came on air.
It weighs a ton. But yeah, like, how is it fair that it's taken me 4 times to get this and the other girls it's taken them the first time?
The average energy bill will increase by almost £700 a year.
How are you? You're looking well.
Yes.
Unbelievable considering what you've been through.
The Prime Minister, his wife Carrie Johnson and the Chancellor will all be fined for breaking lockdown rules.
Let me say immediately that I've paid the fine and I once again offer a full apology.
Natalie McGarry was a big figure in the Yes movement, but she was stealing money from the cause.
The jury found McGarry guilty of embezzling almost £25,000 from 2 pro-independence groups.
You've not only won this election overwhelmingly, we've increased our share of the vote, increased the number of councillors that we elected.
The vote in favour of having confidence in Boris Johnson as leader was 211 votes, and the vote against was 148 votes.
Very fast moving tonight. Rishi Sunak, the Chancellor, has resigned, joining Sajid Javid there. This could be a very, very difficult night for the Prime Minister now. Is it all over, Prime Minister?
We have to conclude that enough is enough.
And I want you to know how sad I am to be giving up the best job in the world. But them's the breaks.
It's not quite sunk in, that side of things, knowing that my mum's achieved it and I've achieved it. I haven't quite sort of been able to process that. It feels really weird.
You've lost your accent.
I have.
Did you ever have a Scottish accent?
I had a very Scottish accent.
Go on, give us a bit.
No, I'm not.
Oh, go on.
I am not. No.
It might endear you to your electorate.
No, I want these people to vote for me.
Workers united will never be defeated.
The City Council says it's done its bit to support workers. It's calling for more action from the Scottish Government and COSLA.
Liz Truss is elected as the leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party.
I am confident that together we can ride out the storm.
we can rebuild our economy and we can become the modern, brilliant Britain that I know we can be.
The Queen died peacefully at Balmoral this afternoon.
As the Queen herself did with such unswerving devotion, I too now solemnly pledge myself, throughout the remaining time God grants me, to uphold the constitutional principles at the heart of our nation.
God bless the Queen!
And so we gather to bid Scotland's farewell to our late monarch, and whose love for Scotland was legendary.
We promised to release the enormous potential of this country. Our growth plan has delivered all those promises and more, Mr. Speaker.
So I think there's an awful lot of good stuff in the budget. It's right that that goes ahead, but it's also right that the Chancellor listens, responds, and he's acted on that now.
In a letter to the Prime Minister, he wrote, "You have asked me to stand aside as Chancellor. I have accepted."
A book is being written about the Prime Minister's time in office. Apparently, it's going to be out by Christmas. Is that the release date or the title?
Sweet to see you again. Oh, it's a great pleasure.
Anyway.
The Prime Minister is not under a desk, as the
Thank you very much, everybody. I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. I have spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party.
Some mistakes were made, and I have been elected to fix them. And I understand too that I have work to do to restore trust after all that has happened.
The Scottish Parliament does not have the power to legislate for a referendum on Scottish independence.
We must and we will find another democratic, lawful and constitutional means by which the Scottish people can express their will.
We respect the clear and definitive ruling of the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom. Now is the time for politicians to work together, and that's what this government will do.
I've always been a great believer it's a card that we've been given, that we've got. Somebody's given us this card to hopefully maybe try and make a difference.
For this generation, he's a crusader for MND. For one or two of us who have a certain vintage, he was a phenomenal rugby player, and he meshed the two together to come up with this fantastic foundation. He's no longer with us, but the legacy and his memory will live on for a long, long time.
The NHS is under pressure and scrutiny. It faces a massive COVID backlog and record waiting times in accident and emergency.
This winter will be one of the most difficult our NHS has ever dealt with.
This record figure, 11.1%, it's already having an impact on how people are struggling to make ends meet.
Food prices are increasing at their fastest rate for 45 years. Food and energy are both obviously essential items, and that means it's going to be having a really big impact on households.